Welcome back to another vlog. This is Dirty Pair Flight 005 Conspiracy. This is a commission vlog for Bennett Jackson. Thanks for backing. So, this was really good. Like, just really, really good. It wasn't the funniest thing that Dirty Pair has ever done by any means, but it was a really good, like, mystery conspiracy story with a solid emotional core and a bit of humor here and there. And good characterization on both Kay and Yuri, which at times with the TV show seemed to be a problem. You know, the show would, different episodes would seem to, for lack of a better way to put it, favor one over the other and depict the other one really negatively, and this does a much better job of balancing them. I am going a little bit out of order here. This is actually the, based on what the list I have, this is actually the last movie, and in fact the last Dirty Pair thing that had the original character designs and the original cast. There's Dirty Pair Flash after this. I'm not 100% clear on what that is, but I know it's visually very different and has a different voice cast. The reason I'm doing this slightly out of order is, first of all, I was requested by Bennett to do the episodes, the OAVs, the 10-episode OAV after this, to do all the movies first and then all the OAVs. Because otherwise, it's like movie and OAVs around the same time, movie. And honestly, the two movies I've done so far really are just OAVs. They were just marketed separately from the 10-episode block. So it's kind of confusing. But that said, the reason I'm doing that's the reason I'm doing all the movies before the OAVs. But again, this is the last of the movies, but I'm doing it second because basically I wanted to get it done this weekend, and timing-wise, an hour-long movie worked better than a full feature-length movie. I will do the feature-length one next time. So this was, like I said, though, I'm really glad I did this because this was really good. There's a complicated conspiracy going on that gets slowly unraveled. It isn't obvious from the start what's going on. It's not clear at any given time who's telling the truth, who's lying, what's actually happened, and the big question, why, gets more and more complicated as it goes on. There's a lot of interplanetary politics going on here that is pretty convincingly depicted. There's a lot of espionage stuff. This is basically an espionage thriller, but without kind of the ham that is weighed down past attempts at espionage stuff by Dirty Pair. I mean, it is definitely an espionage thriller. The players involved are, I mean, there is a big organized crime syndicate involved, but it's mostly government actors, secret police, spy agencies, that kind of thing, that are involved in what's going on in this episode. But despite that, more than anything else, it feels like the two-parter from the TV series with the disappearing plane. There's a reason for that, because they both involve a disappeared flight, although in the case of this movie, the flight is destroyed, and I think the people aren't real. Like I said, it's never entirely clear who's telling the truth and who's lying, but I think we're supposed to believe the Doltz spy when he says that the 300 people on the ship, except for the scientist whose name I'm blanking on. There's a lot of D words tossed around in this, and it got kind of confusing to keep them all straight. The scientist, who I know was not called Doofenshmirtz, but that's what my brain keeps going to, was... He and his family were the only real people on the flight, I think. That or the Dult spy agency killed 300 of their own people, which is entirely believable, actually. So... But mostly this, that's all really just frame. That's what really makes this work, is much like the better episodes of Dirty Pair, at its core, this is about a couple of characters. And it's about the relationships between Kay and Yuri and between them and other people. Kay and Yuri feel close in this, in a way that they haven't since the early days of the TV series. They feel like people who know each other intimately, who care about each other, who, trust each other, who will help each other out of jams, but who also trust each other to take care of themselves. And that's really effective stuff. That really makes us like the both of them, because they so clearly like and trust and rely on each other. And it's done without having to play the Yuri Peril Monkey game, like Affair of Nolandia, or several episodes of the show. In fact, they kind of reference that kind of stuff. They trick everyone, audience included, into... Well, I never believed for a second that Yuri was dead. I believed that Kay believed that Yuri was dead. I believed that her going to the bar and getting drunk with Danny, the local police guy, was real, for lack of a better term. And so it threw me for a loop that was actually a plan that Kay and Yuri dreamed up to make Kay seem vulnerable, so that their enemies would expose themselves and then Yuri could pounce. They do the exact same thing in reverse on Dolts. Later, when Yuri goes alone to what is very probably a trap, when it does turn out to be a trap, Kay swoops in to rescue her, and it's very clear that was what they planned all along in order to get a hold of the guys who are trying to trap them. It's an effective technique when you've got two people who really trust each other and trust each other's competence. And it caught me the first time, but it doesn't perfectly work, though. That either time, really. The first time the second time they get attacked by the crime syndicate. The first time, Danny gets killed. And Kay isn't able to stop him from drinking the drugged drink that the bartender had prepared for her, which she seemingly was... It didn't seem like it at the time, but she was seemingly aware of it. And it was a gruesome... I don't even know if I can call it a drug. It seemed like it might have been an explosive charge, because, blood and something squishy and pink hit Kay's face after he drinks it. and there's a spurt of blood when he falls over. This is not as violent as the previous movie, Affair of Nolandia, but it's got some violence in there. And Kay blames herself for Danny's death, and that's actually kind of something the show, or the movie, does a couple of times, which help create that emotional core that both Yuri and Kay cause an ally's death, or at least their plans cause an ally's death. Because near the end of the movie, Dick, the guy who's been helping them, the father-in-law of the kidnapped scientist, is killed because Yuri makes the call to set off the explosive charges. Now, before he and his daughter and granddaughter can make it across, and he basically sacrifices himself so that the daughter and granddaughter can get across. Yuri makes the call for pretty good reasons. You know, the crime syndicate / corrupted spy agency are closing in, but she still makes the call that gets him killed. And at the end of the movie, she and Kay remember the two people that got killed. It's a very somber ending, which it's a really interesting note for Dirty Pair to go out on. This is not a somber movie. This is an energetic action film with some bits of humor and a little violence. But it does end on a kind of somber note. And I think that actually makes it more effective. It's not that a bit of a downer is an inherently better ending than a happy ending, but it's unexpected given Dirty Pair and the genre Dirty Pair is playing in, and their usual cavalier attitude toward collateral damage that they cause. It's a bit of maturity for them to be mourning. It's character growth. And it's not just growth of the characters, but of the work itself. It's acknowledging that Kay and Yuri get people killed, and not just the bad guys, in a non-comedic way. And that has a bit of punch because it's contrasting so strongly to the comedic nature of the show, and how often they've treated, destroying entire cities, or once even an entire planet, as essentially slapstick. It's a really good move, and honestly, a really good movie, and I think this is up there with things like the episode where they're chasing the cat, or episode 8, or the two-parter about the disappeared flight. Like, this, in my opinion, belongs among the best of Dirty Pair, and I really, really liked it, and I'm really glad to have watched it. I think that's about it. So, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check out my Patreon for early access to vlogs, Let's Plays, essays, and more. And I'll see you all next time. Bye!